Welcome to the Appy Hour, everyone. We're glad that you're here, and we're going to have a fun conversation today. Fun, why? Because anytime that I can make my life easier, that to me is exciting and fun. And this one right here, by the end of it, I feel like I'm just going to be wearing a gem. Like I'm excited about this. These are two apps that are coming together and creating this partnership of collaboration, and that makes our lives easier. So anytime that we can start to, as Heather and I call it, a band-aid, anytime that we can rip off this band-aid and create a really good seamless integration, we get excited, because that means not only are we using an app that has a workflow that works inside that app, but then also to make sure that it moves over into the rest of our firm. And it works for us, it works for the client. So that's exciting stuff.
It sure is. No, I love that. I was just talking about that. I was on a webinar earlier today with our friends at Method, and we were talking about how all our systems need to be cohesive, and that those little band-aids are okay, but really we want to look at the overall, what is the overall system in our business? And that's where we really start to see some magic, is when we start to focus on every part of our system and how our systems are talking to each other and singing together like an orchestra, right?
Yes. And anytime that you can remove those band-aids, it's like it's a distraction that you just removed, because those band-aids sometimes need to be replaced. Need a new band-aid.
Yep.
Yep. So Lisio and Smartvault are now integrated. This is a woohoo moment.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. So Heather, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Heather Satterley. I am the owner and founder of Satterley Business Solutions, which is made up of Satterley Training and Consulting and Satterley Accounting Services. And I'm located in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and I'm a longtime QuickBooks user and lover and technologist, and I love making music with applications.
Music with applications.
Making things sing.
Nice. That's nice. So I'm Liz Scott, and I'm located in Oklahoma, and I have several firms, but they are all but one. They all revolve around the accounting industry. And so being able to talk about apps, being able to work with small business clients, being able to work with QuickBooks, that's my jam. And I enjoy being able to have a solution that fits into our firm's workflow. So it's exciting to me whenever I can have this great harmony. You're making music over there, so maybe I'm going to harmonize with you. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's fun. This is exciting to me whenever we have great improvements and I would say huge pushes forward in our industry. So we want to thank our Champagne level sponsor, ADP, for 2021. They have been able to be our sponsor and help to bring all of these free webinars to you, so that way you can learn about our industry and the best apps that are available and how they work. So thank you to ADP. And then we want to
have a little fun. And have a little fun, just throwing it out there, because we do that too.
Oh, well, yeah, we have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have geeky kinds of fun. Yep. So here to geek out with us today is Liscio and Smart Vault. So being able to totally get into this geek fest and let's just celebrate. So we are thankful that you're here, and we have several special guests. Chris, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sounds great, Liz. Thanks for having me on. My name is Chris. I'm a CPA, spent 12 plus years in accounting, and spent the last 12 or so years building software for accountants, and a huge fan of Appy Hour. So thanks for having Allison and me on. We love being here, and we're looking forward to geeking out on some software today. So some process automation, some connectivity here. Looking forward to it. Hope you all like it.
Nice. And then we also have, from Smartvault, we have Daniel with us today. And so do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Liz, thanks for having us on here. My name is Daniel Fritz. I'm the director of products over here at Smartvault. I'm located in Houston. And so very excited to geek out with you guys on software. I've been in the product space for about 7 or 8 years and just been in software my entire career. So really excited about today and our happy hour. So thanks for having us on.
Well, we're glad that you're here, and we're glad that we're having a geek fest. We should have little buttons. I think there was like a super geek button, so we need something like that.
We totally need buttons. We like our buttons and badges and pins and all that good stuff.
Certifications, we like all of that. We like all of it. So in the background, we have 2 superhumans. And so Allison Ball, many of you know. And so she's here, she's waving. She's going to be helping with some questions in the background. So feel free, like always, we love the chat. We love the comments because that's how we learn and that's how we grow. So make sure that if you've got a question, go throw it over into chat because I can tell you somebody else is probably thinking the exact same thing. So no dumb questions here. Lots of good ones. And then we also have Rachel that she is here also. And she's waving. And so these 2 superhumans are going to be in the background because there's a lot going on and you're going to be seeing this integration. You're going to go, what does it do blah? Does it do blah? And so, yes, we've got them helping in the background to be able to answer all of those questions.
Awesome. And we have quite a few people here in Facebook land with us as well. So welcome to everybody in Facebook land. Feel free to throw your comments into the comment area in Facebook, and we will be watching that as well.
Awesome. And I would tell everybody in Facebook land to come over here and join us in Zoom land because this is where the live chat is happening. That's more robust. Yes, we are going to pay attention to you friends over in Facebook, but it's definitely you have more questions and answers over here in the Zoom land.
And I'm going to drop that registration link right into Facebook land so that they can just click the link and join us.
Hey, thank you. That's great. And so what we're going to be looking at today is the integration between Lisio and Smartvault. How does that work? We have 2 great super apps. So what is that integration going to do? So talking about this client experience and talking about being able to have our documents safe and we get to have this happy reunion and uniting. I'm excited. And then we're going to talk about our drink. I am a huge fan. So I'm already enjoying. I beat us to it this time. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, let's start chatting. Let's start having this conversation about what we know to be true in our firms. So universally in our firms, what kinds of issues do we have? And I would say part of it is the delegation piece. So being able to share tasks with your firm to be able to say, team members, we need you to go and collect these documents. And then being able to say on the other side of it, we've got to have our clients that then are listening and they're responding. So those are task type things that are happening. And go ahead.
And I also think it's, the in, and I hope this is the right word, the in continuity, right, or the disparate systems, right? Being able to go to like 3 different places to get what you need in order to even start doing accounting work. And I think that is one of the huge issues, just it's inherent in our industry, right? Is that things are in a bunch of different places and we have to gather all this stuff before we can even start doing what our job is.
Well, and the other part of that too is, okay, not only do you have to identify what needs to be done, so that's a piece of it. And then as a firm leader, then you've got to delegate. Here's what needs to be done, go delegate. And now you need to be able to check in on how did it go? So if you've got this situation where you've got several things happening in different places, how do you check up on that work? And how do you find out if you asked 4 things to a team member that then asked those to the client? How do you find out if only one of them was answered? You need a checklist of sorts.
You do.
To go.
And clients like checklists. I mean, one of the things that you hear all the time is just tell me what to do. just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And the problem that we have is that the communication isn't as straightforward as is needed to have a good client experience.
And then the location, it's like, okay, so I asked the client to go and do this, and maybe I'm asking them via email or I'm asking them via Slack. And then I've got to go back to see, not just in that communication thread, but then I've got to go to see if I've asked them to do something, did they do it? So maybe you're talking to them via email and you ask them to do something in Excel, and then you've got to go see, did they upload it? Or Google Sheets, that's something that we use. Did they go do it? So it's this constant chasing. And that's where I feel like if you're trying to delegate, but you haven't moved into this place of being able to say, I have a really good workflow, and then to check in on how did my delegation go, then you're just doing. And so that creates these systems of, it's just easier if I go do, because now you're thinking it's easier because now I know what the status is. Well, what if you had a place that you could go and see where the status is and see the communication without being the one who's doing? And I think that that's huge in our industry, is that a lot of the times we have a hard time delegating because it's just easier if I do it. I don't know if you have that in your firm sometimes, Heather, or in just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just easier if I just go do it.
Yeah, but that's really what holds us back from growth is having that mindset, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the whole thing of being able to ask that question of why. So having this question of, I need to be able to pull in these apps. I need to be able to address these pain points. And so I need to figure out, where are my pain points? Where am I struggling? And then what would that solution look like? So I'm a big believer in, not only do you need the technology, but you need to make sure it meets your workflow demands.
Yep. And that's where it starts is looking at mapping, right? Mapping out what's going on, documenting it, looking at it, being able to visualize it. And then once you know what that is, then you can start to analyze it and find the solution.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And I like this image here. So I have to just brag on this image. This is our globe. So it's like all of us are experiencing this. It's not just you and your firm and you're thinking, why is this so hard for me? It's universal. Like, we're all feeling this, and we could all use some reality of this conversation, right? So if I come over here, I'm sure that whenever we're thinking about what all do we need, so collectively, security is huge. I would say, I heard recently that it was around 33% of firms have had some type of cyber attack within the last 2 years. And that's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is. So that means that it's an area that we do need to focus and we do need to pay attention, but we also need that to fit within our workflows. So we don't have to be this person who knows all of the security improvements that are out there, but we do need to be paying attention to, are we using a solution that has security built into it?
Correct. Yes. We need to be working with solutions that we trust and we know that they've done their due diligence and they're going to protect us.
And I'll go ahead and just call it out. That's one of the reasons that years ago, Smartvault was chosen for our firm, is being able to know that the security piece is there. And I would even say, Daniel, is it Fritz? Are we going by Fritz?
Yeah, we can go by Fritz. That works for me.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm sure that would be a piece that you could even speak to, is that security level is constantly being improved. And so you roll out those updates. And
absolutely.
Then just inform firms.
So whenever we think, one of the sayings we have here at Smartvault, we've been around for about 14 years. And we have a saying around here in the office that security is in our DNA. And that's because from the ground up, we had the original founders were people who were from Bindview and Symantec, and they came and they designed this application around security. So everything from the very basic foundational core, that's why we meet all the FINRA, the SEC, the bank level securities, we're HIPAA certified, and we are actually completely and totally rolled out within AWS. So not only is our technology built to this super high security standard, but on top of that, we're in the golden standard of AWS for some of the most best deployed technologies out in the world today. So when we really think about that, especially when we think about integrating with partners as well, and I know, Chris, you can speak a little bit more to the Lisio side of this, but when we as Smartvault choose to integrate with partners like DocuSign, like Intuit, QuickBooks, and Lacert and Pro Series, and Lisio, my good friend here, we're always making sure that your data is secure, it's protected against a lot of those attacks. They're not going to be able to get in there. We have tons of backups that we do hourly, and we're completely encrypted both in transit and at rest. So when it comes to security, I know I'm babbling on here, but that's just something that we are so passionate about because we have a really solid reputation of not having those attacks being able to affect people that are in our ecosystem.
So I'm going to throw one more thing in there too. So not only are we thinking about from the outside, but then internally, one of the things that I like about Smartvault that it's not 100% unique, but it is unique, is being able to say whenever I set up my folder structure and then I want to go and invite somebody into that folder, I get to be able to have the opportunity to say, who do I want to be in that main folder? And then if I have subfolders, or even if I have subs of subfolders, do I want that same rule to apply all the way down? Or
Absolutely.
do I just want, them to be able to be in the header? Maybe that's where my shared docs are. So
Yeah,
that's a nice feature.
Yeah, and that, I think that you're right, Liz. That is one of those unsung things. You kind of take it for granted after a while because we were one of the initial pioneers of a structured approach to document storage. And to your point, yes, you guys can control which group of peoples, whether it's the clients that you're working with, their contact information, and also internally as well. So you have admins, you have assigned users, you have firm managers, you have vault managers, all of those different permissions kind of play in. And as to your point, once you create a client within Smartvault, or if you're using a Lacert Pro Series, once you just import those over, those are automatically distributed to the appropriate permissions. And so you have 6 folders, which we'll demonstrate in a little bit, maybe if you guys are lucky. And you'll see that some of those have that shared folder indicator that, hey, these are the ones that my clients can see. And then I can clearly dictate that, hey, these are the ones that are internal to me. And that's where you can keep some of that email correspondence, some of those internal notes, your internal tax returns to file, and et cetera. And all the client facing, such as their uploads, you can control whether or not they can just read this, whether or not they can upload into that folder. And I've seen in the chats today a lot of everything comes at me. And I know Chris does a great job really painting that picture, but when you are able to kind of filter it down and say, hey, no, put your documents in this section, in this area through Lisio, through Smartvault, it really kind of calms the storm a little bit and brings it in to say, hey, let's get these documents, because Heather, to what you said earlier, we want to make sure that you guys are enabled as quickly as possible to do your accounting job. Not, you guys aren't paid to chase after documents. You guys are paid to be the awesome accountants that you are.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna give Chris a chance here because, all right. So if we're thinking about our world, we live off of details. 1, we need to be able to store our details, and 2, we need to be able to ask for our details. So if we now have the solution for how do we store them, how do we ask them? Because we have workflows. So that's that piece that Lisio has created an environment that has this platform that's this client experience that I think it's a beautiful way to say it. So client experience, we do want our clients to have a great experience whenever they're with us, but we need to also have these details, and the details aren't always easy to ask for.
What we're talking about here is actually why it's taken so long. We've been all doing accounting for how many years, right? And we've been waiting for the end. It's got to be something that fits our processes and it's got to be something that our clients will use, and it's got to be secure, and it has to work with the other systems that we all use. And so really, I think what we're really here to talk about today is this notion that finally, because technology has gotten better, because I think there's more maturity in the software as well. I think when I say maturity, I mean in two ways. The software is more robust on a standalone basis. The software is more open on an API basis. And the management, I think, in terms of how business owners are looking at how we serve the market, there's more openness in terms of working together. It wasn't so long ago when everybody was trying to keep us locked into like a legacy enterprise suite and just hold us there, right? But I think today it's like, look, if we aren't able to work together on a best of breed basis, it's not going to work for you all. And so that's where we get to this point where it's like, hey, you know what? This is the time. All of the pieces we needed to have to build amazing experiences and really be able to focus on what each company does best is now, right? That this is the perfect intersection. And what we love about working with Smartvault is the notion that they've been there, they've done that, they know exactly who they are, exactly what they want to accomplish as a business, and are open to creating and contributing to meaningful solutions that move the entire profession forward. So, and what we're going to talk about today isn't just this one single moment in time. This is something that will get better and better. Fritz has gone through it, and he has a roadmap for his team. We have a roadmap for our team, to continue to add more and more value quarter on quarter for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, because really what we're trying to do is we're trying to create easier, more secure, and have patterns and so be predictable. Those are things that we're trying to get to, but sometimes it feels like when we're all over the place, it's random. And if we're doing things that are in this app and in this app, it's and they're not talking to each other, then that's another level of confusion. And so being able to have you both here today, that's the trophy that's there. It's the trophy.
I love it.
Like it.
Yeah. So I want to say at this point, I've already had some of our toast, but let's make it official. So we have our drink right here, and anybody who knows me, I love these copper cups. There is something about the flavor that comes off of them. They do have their own, they add something. It's charming. So this is also, ginger beer is one of my favorites. So this is such a great, refreshing drink for a refreshing new look at how do we handle workflow, documents, communication. So thank you. Glad you're here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because I think that, Chris, you probably want to take over, right? Or do you want me to keep?
I think once you keep the slides up there, that'd be great.
Okay, you got it.
And then I'll
Okay.
flip over when we get to a demo.
All right, so I'm going to take a drink while that's coming back. Is it showing now?
It's perfect.
Got it.
It's perfect. Thank you, Liz. All right, let's flip to the next slide. All right, so we talked, I think, quite a bit about the challenge, which is how do you get it all, right? How do you get it all for you? How do you get it all for your clients? And how do you keep everything really secure? So big set of ands here. So let's start with really probably one of the biggest problems that we're all laser focused on, which is the next slide. So let's put this quote out here. This is from Accounting Web from just a couple of months ago. Accountants and bookkeepers spend up to 40% of their time searching for and gathering client documents. And this is one of the big things that, when I reflected on my career in accounting, when I started with Arthur Andersen, I spent a ton of time, an absolute ton of time doing administrative work. I was in front of the copier, I was cutting and pasting stuff. It was just one of those deals. And nobody told me this when I was studying accounting. Nobody told me that when you start your job and you start your career, about half of your work is going to be administrative and about half is going to be accounting. I thought I'd be doing accounting, right? And here we are some 20 something years later, and we're still talking about how so much of the job is administrative. And this has been a problem for firms because I think it's not just a drag on us, but it makes it, far less profitable for us as firms and so forth, because so much of our time isn't going towards what we would view as much as being, really value add, highly billable time, right? So this is a problem we really, really want to attack. So also with this notion, there's this backdrop that the profession is changing. And let's take a look at that on the next slide.
And while that next slide's loading, I can tell you that this morning during our team meeting, we had a conversation that our documents were at 37% at request right now and needing to be able to get back for year end. We're at 37%. So that 40% is like spot on.
That makes the question, which year end? 2018?
Yeah. So we're looking forward. We're going forward. And so we
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're ready and primed, because we know our clients don't talk to us in November and December. We have October.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
That's
now.
smart. Smart. Yeah. We need to get this has to get better, right? And I think, there's so many great technologies out there, the people do my hair, my dentist, et cetera. They're constantly communicating with me right on text, et cetera. That's gotten better. And I show up and I'm on time, right? So how do we really bring accounting up to that standard? And I think we got to recognize, hey, look, so many firms, I know most of the firms here are way ahead, right? But if you look at the accounting and bookkeeping profession by and large, it's still largely paper-based, right? Before COVID, everybody was still bringing in, I don't want to say the old shoebox necessarily, but stacks of paper, right? And things are still getting mailed out and mailed back. COVID broke that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of firms are saying, we've gotten this far for this many decades doing what we've been doing, but that is now effectually broken because this remote work thing is here to stay and clients aren't going to come in as much. So I think the up-leveling of the profession in general is really happening much faster than we've seen at any point really in history. And with that comes this notion that digital transformation is, or the digital frontier is the competitive frontier.
Yeah,
the clients we hold today. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And that's what we're really seeing is that client experience is now truly that. Everybody wants to experience it in an app. Everybody wants to experience it digitally. And how can I get those documents? Make sure that experience is good for your clients, because they can definitely go somewhere else. So if you're not on that leading edge of how they want to communicate, that's one of the biggest pieces. But at the back end, you have to make sure that all your cybersecurity and make sure that all of the partners and the tools that you utilize for that experience, that's why Smartvault and Lisio came together, because it creates this great secure environment that's a great experience, not only for your clients, but also the staff as well. And I think that is really what's driving a lot of this as well.
Yeah, it's a huge and, right? I kind of tell my parents, I joke with my parents. My parents always went to see their accountant. They have their local accountant, Los Altos, California. They would always do that. This year, they said, wait a second, I don't need to do that anymore. And so that broke the cycle. So I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? So anyway, and so firms are marking on that. You guys did the story there. And then cybersecurity, just to add on to what we've been talking about before. If you look at insurance for the first time, cybersecurity insurance is now the most expensive policy type. It's more expensive than professional liability. It used to be third on the stack, but because there's been so much ransomware, so much phishing over the last 18 months, it now is leapt to the top. And the breach rates are incredibly high. Like we talked about, at least a third of firms have been breached in the last 18 months, and that has accelerated. So this is certainly top of mind for everybody, and great practices are going to help here.
I agree. We're not going to go backwards. I don't want us to go backwards.
No. And this is the deal. I mean, I think we talk about easy for us and talk about easy for the firm. There's a lot of technology we've been having to use, right? We're on email, but clients want to text us, texting, and then we don't really like getting text messages. Maybe we only let a couple clients do that. So we tried something like a Slack. Then we have some document sharing, payments, e-sign. There's an awful lot of stuff here. So if there's going to be a lot of stuff, it's got to work together, number one, right? So let's get the things that can work together. Number two, to the extent that we can, let's start to rationalize this and bring it down to something far more manageable. And three, along the way, let's get our personal lives back. So if you're texting your clients from your personal phone, raise your hand and say, okay, challenge that. Should I do this? Is this going to scale? How are we going to do this? And worse, on my staff texting, that's something we certainly don't want, right? So too much chaos. This is going to become much, much simpler. And let's go on to the next slide.
I think that's what a lot of the firms look like. Woo, look at this.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, too much. And I think right here in the middle, the tweet by Sarah M talks about really the summary of the problem, which is I have a secure portal for clients to use to send documents. So far this year, I've gotten docs via the portal, paper, email, text, client Dropbox folder, Google Docs, links to Can Scammer. What's next? Carrier pigeon, Pony Express, and there's so much happening here, which is I feel your pain. Kyle on the top right says, I feel your pain, or Sarah M. So true. I'm close to losing my blank with the millions of way clients send docs. Firm 360 on the bottom left. You've done all the work ahead of the deadline. All you need to do is get the client to sign off so you can submit, but now you have to wait for them. There's that 30-something%, right? What's our completion bar looking like? And then if the clients don't like the experience, right? If we're asking them in ways that aren't easy for them, they don't like the experience, particularly with the millennials and Gen Z, right? Melinda's feeling it here. Today's the day you realize your client fired you without telling you. They're not confrontational, they just leave. And so, Laurelyn also, I love her survey here. How many clients are you firing after tax season ends? All, I quit, the number one answer, right? So there's a lot of frustration on both sides. And if we view the client relationship as being the cornerstone of the business, we've got to do better. We've got to really step up. So that's kind of the situation analysis. And that brings us to why we as software providers are moving together. And let's go on to the next one. You all have choice. You have choice around what software you want to use, right? And the processes you want to run. It's incumbent upon software providers to give you what you need with the tools you select, right? And
right.
I'm convinced that the demand you place on us, the comments you're going to make today and going forward, the requests you're going to make of every software vendor in your stack is going to lead back to one thing, which is you have to get what you want. Otherwise, your dollars are going to leave, right? So Fritz, I think I've been talking about this a long time. Why don't you share your perspective here?
Oh, absolutely. And so for me, I really think that with us just leading, I like how you mentioned that earlier, Chris, us leading the industry forward into the new world. And so with us working together, that's where we came together. We identified, we had conversations of, hey, for me, Smartvault could be a master of a lot of things, but what we're really good at is storing documents. And it's the fallacy of the all-inclusives, the big Thomson Reuters, the CCHs that are like, oh, we do everything. When you try to do everything, you're not going to be that great at anything. And so when we came together, we as Smartvault and Lisio wanted to come together and say, look, Lisio owns that. Lisio's app is beautiful, it's functional, it's super easy, and the clients love it. And that makes complete sense because when they are doing what they do best, then we can do what we do best. And what we have to do is create this beautiful end-to-end experience for the clients all the way through, allowing the staff to do the work and just get on with doing the accounting work. And I think that that's why right here, creating a best of breed experience, it's time for us. And that's exactly what we're doing. So as we propel forward into this demonstration, I love how Chris said it's like, man, well, this is just the beginning. Like we have plans. I have already sent stuff over to Chris. Like, this is what I want to do. This is how we can work better with Lisio. And we're going to continue to, foster this relationship, because that's the thing is once we be that best of breed, the dollars will stay with us because you guys are going to have a lot of time back on your hands.
Remember when Microsoft made a phone? Who here has a Microsoft phone?
Oh.
Yeah, right. It's one of those deals where even Microsoft couldn't do everything.
That's right.
Think about that. And how the heck are any of us in any accounting capacity? You pick the largest accounting company out there. You can't do everything. It's not possible. So we gotta get to this point. So let's quickly just kind of touch on mission. So this will help, I think, set up how we fit. What's our purpose, right? So on the next slide, if we think about Lisio and what we're here to do, our mission is simple. We want to empower accounting firms of all sizes to put their clients first. So we always think about starting with the customer interaction, because the customer doesn't play along, nothing behind it will work anyway, right? So give them the mobile experience, give them something secure that they can use, right? Increase their engagement and deepen their connection to the firm. That's what we get out of bed every day in the morning and think about, which is very different than what Smartvault thinks about.
Exactly. And so with Smartvault's mission, you want to jump to the next slide, Liz? There we go. Is to provide businesses with that central document destination. In this way, you can enable this adoption of just being fully digital. You always know where your documents are going to land and where they're going to be and where they're going to stay, more importantly. And oh, by the way, give access to everybody. So it is a document workflow that's highly secure and supports all the regulatory and compliance mandates that are put on you guys. Let us worry about making sure your data is safe, secure, and checks all the boxes. You guys do what you need to do. And by us coming together, that makes it really easy for clients. Do you want to jump to the next slide, Liz? Because it's easy for clients to use this experience. They can always refer back in the old views of Smartvault. They can communicate really easy with Lisio. And also, it's just robust organization for the staff itself because of what Liz was talking about earlier, that structured approach to data. And when you go to a client, whether it's Chris, whether it's Liz, whether it's Heather, whether it's me, everybody has the same folder structure. Everybody has the same experience, and you can really see that repetitive process. And yes, my right hand person, Rachel Montana, unlimited storage. You guys have as much space as you need to store all the documents. We are a complete archive. We will go back in perpetuity. We have some firms that I've talked to in the last couple of weeks that have been with us for 12 years, and they have every single piece of document from even 12 years ago, because they're like, no, we love holding on to that. We love the client's ability to just see how they've progressed. And that robust organization makes it easy when you're onboarding somebody. Hey, this is what you're going to see on every single client. This is what you're going to experience. This is where do you expect documents to be, because you have controlled that permission. And if you need to communicate with them, utilize Lisio. They're going to be back and forth, and it's all there.
I love that because, of course, we want to keep all of the history of the communication with our clients, but being able to store it, print it out, PDF, store it forever, it's nice.
So we're actually down to 20 minutes. So here's what I do. I think we should probably just show you what we're going to do. But I think the key point here is single point of entry. And when we take a look at the product, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we cover this notion that you were talking about earlier, Liz, which is, delegation issues. How can I tell what's been done? Right. We need to get down to a single point of entry for the client that everybody can see. So that's going to go ahead and clarify everything. So keep that in mind as we start to show you product. But let's go ahead and go to the next one. I think this is really the big deal. We started talking earlier about this idea that for many, the accounting profession is about half accounting work and half administrative work. What happens when the administrative work collapses down into far less chasing of clients, into far less logging into multiple systems, into far less having to work hard to get documents back and forth between systems? What happens when that starts to compress? You become far more profitable and you don't have to work as hard. This is what Janelle Padula in Longwood, Florida is doing. Team of 4 down there. They do a lot of tax and they do client accounting services. But for the tax year where they tend to be the most busy, did 150 more returns, no increase in staff and no overtime. 150 more returns for a 4-person firm. Imagine what that does to the top and bottom line. And then notion of no overtime. Imagine what that does to quality of life, staff retention, all the good stuff, right? Just, this was, it gets so super excited. And we want this for everybody. We want to take that administrative work that nobody wants to do and compress the heck out of it. Let's go on to the next one.
So with this one, as we look at the best of breed for accountants, when you have a single central document destination for permanent firm document storage, Smartvault can do that with a map drive. We could do that with our desktop application. And what I'm going to showcase today with Chris is a client portal. There's a couple slide-ins here, Liz. So what we are doing with that is that we are leveraging integrations with leading accounting software to create that best of breed. Do you want to click on, Liz? There we go. There we go. It's catching up now. So we work with every single tax software out there. We have specific integrations with the Intuit side and specifically the certain Pro Series. We have intelligent document flows. So we have those folder templates that we've talked so much about. We can bulk send organizers, bulk send tax returns. And we have an integration with DocuSign. And you'll see today that Lisio has an integration with Adobe Sign. And that's totally cool. Wherever the signature works in your workflow, this is what we're talking about. If we're coming together, working together, we're not precious of whether you would prefer to use DocuSign or Adobe Sign. Where does it fit in your firm? And that's what's most important. And at the very back end, what we talked about at the very beginning is that robust security and all of the IRS regulations. Like I said, we are encrypted. We have audit trails. We have 2FA. We can file lock things. And what that led to was Don Brolin at Powerful Accounting. They tripled their productivity in 2020 by connecting Smartvault, Lisio, DocuSign, and the number of clients on extension was reduced by 75%. And this was the smoothest one that she'd experienced in 20 years. And she is joining and utilizing Lisio starting in 2021. So happy to have Dawn jumping over there as well. So Chris, I say let's just jump into the demo. I know we're running a little lower on time, but how easy this is, we can do
Favorite
this.
part. Okay,
Let's do it.
I just stopped sharing.
Okay, so I'll move pretty quickly because what we're going to talk about today, frankly, is pretty straightforward. So, so the key is accounting can be fairly repetitive in terms of what we do with clients. So let's take advantage of technology to take the repetitive work and minimize it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start and do a couple of requests. I'm going to do a request here to add new task for a client, and I'll do City Lights Bookstore, and I'm going to do Christine client here. Let's say I want to do some, let's say I'll do K1 reminder. So schedule K1 reminder. This is your friendly reminder, provide the remaining schedules K1 has received them. Basically, this is a template that you would create. We'll give you sample templates and so forth, but take the things that you're most often doing, templatize them. So I just fired out a request with a due date and everything. I'm also going to fire a request out here to get something signed. So whether you choose to do it in us or Smartvault, doesn't matter. The point here is that all under whatever system you're using that makes you efficient, I can ask for an ACH auth form, pull a template right here, and grab that, prepare it for signing. The document signature feature is fully embedded in the system you're working in. That's the big point. So instead of log into yet another thing and worry about where it gets stored and so forth, you'll just find it here. All the authoring tools are ready to go. Just click send. So we're templatizing. Other things we're frequently doing is we're sending a task. Let's say they have a meeting with a client. We want to schedule a meeting. Well, right now, what if we want to schedule a meeting and just send a Calendly invitation? We could do a Zoom invitation, do a Calendly invitation, whatever it is. I can send that right through Lisio as well. So the client isn't getting a bunch of disparate links and all that kind of stuff. They're getting everything essentially in one single place to look at it. Liz, you also mentioned something earlier, which is important, which is you want to be able to delegate. So let's say I want to request information. I want to onboard City Lights Bookstore with Christine here. So I'm going to do an onboarding template. The difference here is when I do this, I pick the template, but the owner, I'm going to say the owner is Allison. Okay. So when the work starts to come in, Allison will be the one getting all the alerts to go ahead and review that. This is going to allow you to quickly delegate what client requests you sent out to other people on your team. Make sense? And what's great about it is when you're all working in conjunction with one another, but you don't have the ability to reach, or shout across the hallway, hey, did you ask for this? You're going to have a transparency layer, which is I can go out here to accounts and go to City Lights Bookstore, and I can quickly have a single point of truth. This is all the information about City Lights. I can see all the tasks, all the messages, etc., that we've exchanged. When I click on tasks, I can see that Christine has 4 tasks outstanding. 1 is owned by Allison, 3 are owned by me. We created all of them 1 or 2 minutes ago. Okay. So super, super fast, super easy to get requests out. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I'm going to go ahead and push this screen away for half a second here. So as it's happening, the client's going to get emails. We'll send emails out to the client saying, hey, log into Lisio, you got stuff to do. We're also going to tap them on the shoulder on the phone, right? This is how people want to act. They're asking to text you right now, right? So what you're going to see here is I got an onboarding checklist, et cetera. I can tap on this as a client. Again, this is a client side now. They can biometric right in. So we feel really secure about this because obviously they have possession security on their phone and they have biometric, right? When they pop in here, they can see what they owe you. So there's the onboarding checklist, et cetera. I'll tap on that. Say, here they are. send it, and I'll mark this task complete. What's happening is all the activity, right, all the conversations on this task are happening with an audit trail right on the task itself. So everybody knows when it was asked for, what communication was made, what conversations were had around that, etc. So super easy. I can also do a K1 reminder here. I'm going to tap on this because we're going to get a document here. So due date, again, is here. We're going to automatically remind them. If they don't send you the stuff on time and so forth, we will gently nudge them. So you don't have to worry about doing the nudging. And then if they want to get you a document, such as a Form K1, add it, scan it, add it from the photo library, import it from Box, whatever they have here, etc. I'm going to go ahead and scan this. So do that. I'll hold this above my desk. We auto capture it. And there it is. So we make it look really, really good. We turn it into a PDF automatically for you. They can do 20 pages just like that. We'll give it to you as one single PDF. Okay. And then that's going to pop in here. And then I'll go ahead and send that over. Okay. So the client is super, super organized. They know exactly what they owe you. They can have a conversation with you here, and they have access to everything they've ever talked to you about. All their inbox items, all their tasks, history, all their files, everything is here in one place right on their phone. Works just like this in the browser too, okay? So when that comes in, let's get into the Smartvault integration part. I'm going to go back to my home page. I've got a schedule K1 reminder here. I can pop this open. I'm going to see that I created the task 5 minutes ago. She attached the file 1 minute ago and said, hey, it's done, okay? I'm going to open that file. And is this what we wanted? We wanted to schedule K1. You're going to see this is a PDF already. Okay. I can look at the source task if I want to drill into it, but this looks great. So what do I want to do? I want to save this. So I'm going to download this, and I'm going to download this straight into Smartvault. So this is going to be a Form K1 for city lights. Okay. And I'm already in Smartvault. So I'm going to pop in here. I'll go to my clients in Smartvault. And then I think I have a Christine client folder in here. Let me go ahead and find that. But what's happening here is this is going to go cloud to cloud. So Fritz, I'm going to put this in the tax folder under TY20. And I think I probably have a source docs folder here. I do.
Yeah. Now that'll be perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it there at that right there. So now I've already saved it to Smartvault. So I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and archive this task. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Fritz.
All right. Let's jump in there. All right. So let me know when you guys, can see this.
Just so exciting.
All right. So like Chris said, going through that, he deposited that file directly into Smartvault. So this is the landing page of Smartvault. I've got lots of tools. I can add clients here, add team members, set up those folder templates that we've talked about quite a few times, and you can actually customize your portal as well. So I'm going to jump into the clients themselves. It's a little faster to jump in this way. And so here's Christine client, and I'm going to just jump into her vault. So I can now see that as the accountant, I can come in here and go into my tax folder for TY20, and here's the source document. So there's got source K1 for city lights right here that was just dumped in. And so I can take that and then take actions on it. A few of the other really cool things that Smartvault has added that we're going to be working on integrating over with Chris is the ability to leverage our request docs. So this is great. You can connect those tasks, but what we also want to do is we want to just kind of cut out that center work on your end. What if we could just provide a way for Christine client to get the certain documents that you need in order to do this? So I could go into Christine client, choose, say, an individual template, and it's asking for all of these documents, whether or not it's required. You guys as users completely control this. And oh, by the way, it takes a couple seconds to adjust these. I can put them directly into that 2020 tax engagement. And that allows you to send these requests. This is one of the big things that me and Chris, before tax season of this year, we're going to make it to where Lisio can trigger these things and get them over there. And that's going to be absolutely huge. So I'm not going to send those over to Chris, but I can give you an idea here is that I've got one that I sent out that hasn't been triggered yet. So maybe I want to go ahead and send a reminder. I've got one that's active. So Malcolm Reynolds here is working through his, and then Serenity Shipping has actually submitted. You'll notice the action button has changed. But even though Malcolm Reynolds has not submitted his, you as an administrator can review and see all the documents that are completed already. And so when it comes to this experience, Liz, I actually created you as a client in my Smart Vault. So I invited you to one of these, and I'm going to pull over my Firefox here because you can't be logged into multiple Smart Vaults, but this is the experience that you would see if you wanted to sign up.
Nice.
And so a client for a Smart Vault, once you're sharing with them, they would experience this, and this is completely mobile enabled. So your clients are able to use this not through an app, but just through standard Chrome or Safari. This is completely responsive, and we're going to go ahead and create that user here. As I mentioned earlier, you can totally custom brand everything. So I have this custom branded to My Taxman, which has the same logo as my Lisio area here. Let me go ahead and get you logged in here. Today is the 28th. And because we are super, oh, whoops, 2021. I think let me go grab and figure out what I used as your email there, Liz. But what this experience is that we want to make sure that everybody is super, super secure. So where are you at, Liz? Oh, it's G, not W. My fault. There we go. So we will 2FA people. And so as we come in here, we'll get that 2FA code. And we're going to jump into the Mozilla here. So from an experience for a client is going to see things very similarly. And you'll notice here it's a little different because I'm zoomed in, but I can choose where I can upload certain documents. Right now I don't have any, but let's utilize Liz in this case. We want to go ahead and request docs from her. So just to kind of experience this through our world. So I can say, hey, Liz, we're going to get some individual template information for a tax year of 2020. And I'm going to go ahead and send this over. So a couple things happen in there. We'll invite them if they haven't been in yet. But most importantly, as I come home, I now have a requested docs section. And this is telling your users, hey, I need documents in this way. And this is where once we get this integrated into Lisio, once you put something into the requested docs areas for this tax engagement for 2020, they can drag and drop. They can take pictures on their phone if they're leveraging their phone in this world way, and it's going to immediately put those into that same source area. So let's kind of see that from this side. So if I go into Liz one last time, so Liz Scott, I'm going into this tax area. Remember what I mentioned earlier, you'll be able to tell, I know it's a little small, but you'll see here, the folder on the right has 2 people. This is something that Liz can see. The permanent and the correspondence, you'll notice that they don't have this shared folder icon. Those are internal folders just for you. And I didn't create these folders. I just created Liz. This tax folder was shared with her and immediately created. So this is the power of Smartvault. Everything is the same experience, the same here. Tax year 2020, like she mentioned, those folders within folders, these 3 down here, those are internal. And so the request docs will go in there and everything is going to land underneath your client. So as we look at this, this is really gathering those documents so that you can do this and leverage Lacert or Pro Series or UltraTax or any of the other tax applications in order to process, because we saw what Accounting Web said, 40% of your job is document gathering. Let's cut that down to 5% and allow you to do more of this, do more returns. And so as I go into Christine Client as an example, I'll jump in and say, all right, I've taken all the actions I need to. I'm ready to print out these returns. In Lacert, we have this direct integration here. So you can just choose Smartvault for each of these documents. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, hey, there's certain things that are going to be missing here. I'm going to bypass all of those. I don't think I want to go ahead and do an entire experience there. And what we see is within Smartvault, those documents are going to come back and land underneath there. We do have a connected desktop application that really helps speed things along. So I have Christine Client. She's got her tax year 2020. Let me go ahead and refresh. There we go. Taxes and right here. So Chris, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it from here. So you can go ahead and send this over. But yes, this entire experience, guys, Smartvault makes it really easy. We have an awesome new app for Outlook to capture and sync all of your emails into those correspondence folders. And let's see how Chris grabs this tax returns and sends it right back through Lisio. Oh, you're muted, Chris. We can't hear you. Oh, slow down, slow down.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Anything you have in Smartvault is accessible to Lisio, right through Lisio now. So I'm going to send the Smartvault return that Fritz just put in there through Lisio doing this. So I just pick her, create a message, subject. I can say this is, let's say your tax return client copy. So I'll pick my template. And then I'm going to browse in Smartvault. And this is Smartvault embedded. So same folder structure. There's Christine. There's her tax year 20. Client tax returns are here. There's what Fritz just put in there just a minute ago. I'm going to go ahead and bring that in cloud to cloud.
Cloud to cloud. Super
into
secure,
Lisio.
super safe. Nothing
Exactly.
going through email. It's going through the best of breed.
Best of breed. So easy, right? And my phone stopped syncing. Give me 1 second. I got to do a quick refresh here. Sometimes my phone mirroring stops mirroring. But what's going to happen here is once my phone pops back up, you're going to see, there it is. You're going to see back here in Lisio, there's that Smartvault return that just popped out of the tax system, hanging out right in Lisio, that easy. So just seconds, literally seconds to step over. What do you think?
I love it. I might be a little biased though, Chris.
Slick. It's very slick.
Yeah, I do. I think that the things that are my favorite is the document request and the tracking, all of that communication over in Lisio. It's really easy, super mobile, and then being able to have my secure, structured folder with my documents over in Smartvault. I like those two worlds. I like that they communicate.
Yeah, no, I like it too. I'm very impressed.
I agree. I
have a question. I noticed that Smartvault also has an integration with Listart and Pro Series, which is amazing because that rounds out our tax workflow. Is there, and it looks like the integration with Smartvault is I can basically send the tax returns to Smartvault right from inside Listart or Pro Series. So I'm a ProConnect tax user. So what's going on with that? And follow-up question is, I also am an Intuit Link user, and I'm looking at all these tax things coming in from Lisio, and I really would love that to go into my ProConnect tax.
Yeah, so I'll take the ProConnect one. We're in conversations with them right now. My expectation that I'm setting with Intuit is that we want to have that ready to go. Probably not for this tax season that's coming up, but the following one, once we get in past this next tax season. You're not the only one, Heather, that's begging for that ProConnect because it makes a lot of sense. We are completely in the cloud, ProConnect being in the cloud, and it makes it really, really easy to have that transition. And we've worked with Intuit for several years now. We're in conversations with them. A shout out to Brady Suggs. He's the head product manager over at ProConnect. I've been bugging him quite a bit recently, and here's another example of another client that's asking like, hey, when is Smartvault going to be in with ProConnect? Because I want to make that jump completely into the cloud.
No, that would be amazing. That really would. So very, very slick. Very cool.
All right.
I have a poll that I can launch.
Let's launch it.
Like a good
poll.
Let's go ahead and do a poll. So if you would like to have our lovely friends at Lisio and Smartvault reach out to you to learn how you can implement this in your firm, go ahead and answer the poll, and I will send along your information a little bit later.
Awesome. And also, I know that it's come out in the chat a couple times. I know that there's some promos. I know specifically for the Smartvault folks, if you sign by or within October, you're going to get 15% off, and just mention this Appy Hour and whatnot. So very exciting. And Chris, what's the promotion that you guys are doing at Lisio?
I think we got a slide for that, don't we?
Right there.
We do have diets.
Yeah, so
Oh,
before October
fantastic.
15th, pop in. We got Visa gift cards, we got half off setup, we've got free e-docs, got all sorts of stuff. So if it makes sense, give us a shout.
And I think that we're also going to see both of you guys in just over a month, right? In real life. Like we'll be able to reach out and poke, or maybe
A lot of high
not.
fives. A lot of high fives going on.
I love it.
Gross.
Yep, get to hang out
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Well,
Wings.
and you know, be able to have these conversations. So we're spinning the wheels right now because we're going, oh my gosh, can it do and will it do? And then we'll be able to also continue to ask questions. That's one of my favorite things about going to the conference is then I've started using it and then I have these questions. Okay, shoot
Definitely.
them over.
Definitely. Yeah. No, and I love all this collaboration. And I think it's so helpful to actually have our app partners in the same room, even if it's a virtual room, in a same room, talking about how they work. Oh, hey, sweet. Sorry. Oh my gosh, all the cuteness. But in the same.
Totally cute.
Oh man,
He stole the show.
yeah, I know, right? He's totally stole the show. I don't have my two with me. I love
It's
it.
the best part. It's the best part of work from anywhere.
That's
I
right.
agree.
It is.
I agree.
Totally.
Well, and we want to be able to have this client experience. We want to be able to have this workflow experience where we need one part of our lives to be easy so we can do exactly what you're doing at this moment and enjoy our lives, enjoy our families.
Yep.
So I'm glad that y'all are having this conversation on how to do something on the back end that we're not able to do that's as seamless on the front end with our Band-Aids. So being able to say that we're giving our clients something that's secure, we need to be able to have that, and then we need something that's easy for our lives.
Yeah, the promise is free time, right? That's what we're working for. Let's make free time. Let's conjure
Make
it.
free
So,
time. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Free time, less frustration.
Agreed. So thank you everyone for joining us today on the Appy Hour. Just like this and other episodes, you can go and check them out. We have a YouTube channel, so you can see our prior recordings. Lisio and Smartvault have both been on previously, so you can go over to our YouTube site and you could search in both Lisio or Smartvault and be able to find those prior episodes of where we go through each of those individually. And those of you that are in Facebook land, I'm glad you're here. Make sure that you're registering for Zoom land too. And then guess who's coming on next? This is exciting. So we have some subscription-based businesses that we work with. And so Recur 360 is great for being able to say, how do we have these solutions? How do we make sure that we have a good automated piece of it that can handle subscription type of businesses? And then the scaling. So we'll be at scaling very, very, very soon.
Very
so
exciting.
I want to say thank you. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, everyone. And then thank you also to Lisio and Smartvault for making this episode possible.
Yeah,
Very
cheers.
cool.
thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
You're awesome.
Bye.
Thanks much.